Hello everybody, welcome back to a dual video. I've got a lot of people that are asking me about my newest series. They're wanting to know the mods list. There's a lot of people questioning the lore, questioning a lot of stuff about the new series, so we're going to get into that. Plus, we're just going to go ahead and do a channel update while we're at it, because this just seems like the best format. These don't really fit into my normal rotation, and therefore is going to disrupt the normal movement of my videos as it is. So let's just go ahead and disrupt it fully. First off, 7 Days to Die, new series, Samhain. And there's going to be people who are like, oh, you're saying that wrong. It has been pointed out to me, and I didn't realize that there was actually a Samhain, which was a Celtic Halloween tradition, which is probably where Samhain came from, which is supposed to be a demon of the Halloween air. It's probably just like a derivative used by some people. I have no idea exactly how. I don't pretend to be a huge, I don't know, I guess in this case it would be a Celtic buff. I don't have a ton of experience with that bit of it. All I'm going to say is I'm not talking about the holiday for Celts, where it is like the Halloween season as we know it. I'm not talking about Samhain. I am not speaking of that. I am speaking of a mythological creature that exists in folklore that I have heard and I have researched. Everything that I saw, it said Samhain. Some movies that I have seen about it, Samhain. So I'm assuming at some point during Celtic history and New Age stuff and things like that, that this different type of creature came about. It's kind of like having the dark form of Santa Claus or something like that. I have no idea. The point is I have an option to take it back to Samhain and do the proper phonetic enunciation of the word. But if I do that, whenever I start talking about a demon, people are going to get upset because I am besmirching a holiday that is still held by people, possibly in the world. I don't know. There might be people who still celebrate it. And therefore, I don't want there to be any confusion, and therefore I'm not going to change Samhain. Samhain is a different entity. It is an offshoot of the holiday season. When you hear Samhain, first off, obviously a lot of people are like, you're saying that wrong. Secondly, it invokes the sense of Halloween. So that in itself is like, okay, there's something off. I don't know exactly what it is she's talking about, but it has to do with Halloween. So that's at least a ballpark kind of in the right place. And not to give anything away about the character that I am talking about is not exactly what he appears to be. He will be introduced later. I'm not actually going to get into him because it's actually going to be giving away story plots, and this particular series that I am doing actually has a storyline that I'm working on as I go. For those of you who are interested, there is a spot in my Discord that is called Voices from the CB or Voices from the Radio, and anybody who wants to throw their voice out, I've actually got some one-liners that are pretty easy to roll off, and for those of you who've watched my videos, you know that there's a whole lot of static and garble and stuff right there, so that you're not actually hearing a whole lot of voice, at least not yet, because the CBs are broken. I don't have a working one. This is going to be very much a roleplay and roleplay altogether. I'm rolling certain aspects of the character with a dice, therefore it's up to chance. And secondly, I'm also role-playing as in I'm becoming the character instead of just playing it. It's a bit awkward because I have a camera instead of being fully absorbed into it, but making too many changes on the channel at one time is typically a bad thing for a channel to do, and if I just remove my webcam, people who watch for my reactions, which that might be all 2 people, might unsubscribe. So I'm not going to remove the webcam for it. I have considered it. I might do something lore-based that might augment how often the camera is shown. I have no idea. But oddly enough, that's not even the biggest complaint about the newest series. The biggest complaint has been the music. And I'm just going to go ahead and say, my music skills about adding music to videos is very rudimentary. I'm learning. So I would appreciate, during this entire series, every bit of constructive criticism you can. I am trying something new, and I like constructive criticism. There are some folks that do understand what a constructive criticism is, and there are some folks that don't. Just simply saying, I hate rap is not a constructive criticism. First off, to not nitpick, but the music that I have chosen wasn't rap, it was heavy metal / rap. It was kind of a mixture. It's a cross between the two of them, and I get some people don't like that type of music. But I will choose music that appeals to me. Now, what is constructive criticism is this music does not fit your mood. It does not fit the mood of this particular scene. Like, If it's a piano thing and it seems a bit too upbeat and it's a somber time, maybe I picked the wrong piano music. That is a definitely great criticism. The audio being too loud and it drowning me out in a couple of cases is intentional, and I do need to find a way of signifying that's its intention. The first episode, I definitely intended for the audio to drown me out during the boring parts of it, because everybody has seen the beginning part of the game, and there's really not an immersive way of talking about me having to do those things as challenges that just appear out of my butt that I suddenly need to do. There's no immersive way to do that, so I kind of fed the lore bit with the pastor in on it so that I didn't transition it properly, I guess. It didn't convey that way. People just thought I had drowned myself out. I intentionally did so. Maybe if I grayed out my camera or something like that, the stuff that I was doing, it would be understood that it was intentional. I have no idea. You guys let me know if you know stuff about these things. Let me know what you think. Also, there was some people saying that they don't like the spectator cam, that it bounces back and forth. It is a criticism. It's not necessarily a constructive one, only because I get, first off, some people are just not going to like spectator cam, and some people are not going to like music in the video, period. They just want to see gameplay, that's it. They don't want any of the frill. I understand, and I do accept that this is a break from what I normally do. So I accept that criticism. I completely understand that some people may not like the new style or a style that I'm playing with. I have no idea if I'm going to keep this style. It's just a new series that I'm doing for Halloween. Just saying you don't like the spectator cam. Okay. Now, some people don't like the spectator cam, but along with that, something that would be helpful as far as a criticism is maybe the spectator cam happens too often. Maybe it happens in an awkward spot at some point, in which case, like a timestamp is like, right here, it just really did not seem to work. Or maybe the transition was too rough, or maybe the overlay I'm using on the spectator cam with it looking like a camera sometimes, maybe that's overkill. I don't know. So you guys let me know. As far as the music goes, I am still working on the audio levels on what sounds good. What I hear on my end is not necessarily how everybody else's speakers are going to play it, so I can't gauge it always that way. Plus, I still don't even know what kind of music I want to use with it. I'm kind of winging it. So I am open to any criticism. Not necessarily saying that people who do like this style of music or don't like this style of music, that's not really a necessary criticism, because everybody has their preferences on music and you can't accommodate everybody's preference on music. Like, I don't like country. There might be people out there that like rap, they like country, they like classical, they like rap, they like heavy metal, and I'm not going to be able to put all of those inside every single video. So that necessarily does not work if it was this music does not fit for this. Now, if the criticism is this doesn't fit for this mood, I understand. If it cuts in too fast, if it's too loud, if it doesn't fade out right, I mean, those things are so incredibly helpful, and I would appreciate it if anybody here sees those timestamps. I would love that kind of criticism, because I am not a professional at doing this style of music. Not music, but video. I'm not even a professional at making videos. So I'm just experimenting, guys. I do apologize. I'm experimenting. So all of that being said, I do appreciate the criticism, and there is a lot of criticism. There's also a lot of people saying that they like the changes. They may not like all of the changes, but they like the changes. So as many bad comments as I get, well, not bad comments, but critical comments, and people who are enjoying it, they kind of balance each other out, and I'm not really getting accurate feedback. The people who are enjoying it are not criticizing to help me make it better, and the people who are criticizing are not necessarily giving me any feedback about how to make it better, if that makes any sense. So, like I said, feel free on these videos to, if you're actually of the sort to do an actual constructive criticism, to do so. And I do appreciate it. I'm not going to take it offensively. You don't have to apologize for doing it. I like a timestamp and an actual explanation of how this doesn't fit or why this doesn't work would be so helpful. Secondly, the lore parts of it, I don't want to give away too much lore, but the bare minimum is it is already an apocalyptic scenario. I didn't change the story of 7 days. The flu still happened. The bombs still dropped. And the new lore part is somehow or another someone's bringing people back. And in actuality, it's not going to be someone resurrecting. It's going to be something different. It's going to be something else. But this is not knowledge that is known to my character at this time, and therefore I cannot speak on it. More of the story will become apparent once the CB radio is opened, which is taking a little bit longer than I actually thought it was. I thought we were going to get to the story bits a little bit faster, but I'm not trying to push it. I'm trying to allow the story to happen as it would if you were writing a book. In some cases, some characters write themselves and you have to let them do it. In this case, I'm trying to let it write itself instead of forcing the issue. The only thing that I have forced so far is the finding of the Walkman. And that was because I needed to start something my character could work towards to start getting information in order to progress the story. I had no idea I'd be able to easily find several of them over the course of the next week. So that one I did force. I placed the trash can in there and I placed the Walkman in there so I could find it. So that was one of the things that I have done for this story. And I am going to not only play 7 days, but it's mostly going to be a story-led 7 days instead of a survival, which is a stray from people who normally play 7 days, play a survival game. I'm playing a story-led game. So that is basically it. I don't want to give away all of the story. I'm just going to say the Samhain thing will be fleshed out a little bit more later on, and I know that it's being pronounced wrong now. I didn't know when I started, but as I said, I like to let things write their own story, and now there's a new aspect to a character that I didn't know of that makes sense now. Weird, I know, but if you've ever written a book or a story and you had one character that kind of took over and did something different because you what-ifed your character. If you don't know what if is, I do this on another channel. What-ifing a character is when you're trying to write something or do something and you're trying to figure out why a character did a certain thing. Or why would a character do a certain thing, you what-if it. It's like, if I have this character, what if this thing happens? Okay, now what if this thing happens? Okay, what if this thing happens? And then each time you have to look back on the character's past in order to create the storyline that makes sense to them. You can't just write a character to do a thing if their past doesn't say that they would do that. You wouldn't take a good character and that character just shoot an orphan or something like that. That's very bad. They wouldn't do that. There's no reason a character would do that. The only time you would say that that would make sense is if this character in the past knew that, I don't know, say this orphan was actually a, what would you call it? Maybe a costume for a demon, and they knew, then maybe it would make sense that they had done the thing. But unless you know the past of your character, you can't do that. So even though this was not actually something I wrote out to begin with, it is something that is morphing. And I do kind of very much enjoy people having input into the lore because it seems, I don't know, sometimes 7 days feels very lonely and very empty. And in this case, I would like it to seem like the apocalypse is actually very full of a whole bunch of people trying to survive in different ways against what they perceive to be in front of them right now, whether it's food, hunger, food and hunger, whether it's hunger, whether or not it's thirst, infection, whether or not they can get in touch with people, whether or not they lost their family or something like that. The apocalypse doesn't feel that full in 7 days because it's you by yourself with the zombies and that's it. Whereas with the CB radio, contacting the outside and hearing other people's stories in the future, the world will feel bigger, like there's more hope, but more dire circumstances, if that makes any sense without giving too much away. Okay, now let's go on to the mods because I know everybody's been waiting for the mods. I do apologize. I know you're waiting for the mods. This is my mods list. I actually have an entire zip file of all of my mods. I don't like the idea of giving people a zip file of the individual mods that I have because I think in most cases the places that you download mods from, it keeps a tally of how many downloads a particular mod gets. The two places that I use for getting my mods... Okay, one place that I get my mods are 7 Days to Die mods. And the other place that I get my mods are Nexus. And that's big. Oh, cool. They've got the Mean Ones Gamer Radio. Those are the two places where I get my mods. 7 Days to Die mods and 7 Days to Die on Nexus. So if you're looking for any of these on this mods list, then that's where you look. It's a lot of these, like half of them, are actually part of S-Core and the NPC X-Core. Those are the two ones. And in the mod launcher, you just tell it to download those, and it downloads all of those files along with it. The other ones, let's see. Yeah, that's one that came along with it. That one came along with it. That one came along with it. That one, I do use Aurora Giggle Fairy's HUD. It's absolutely the best HUD in my opinion. This one came with it. This one came with it. That one, that one, that one, that one, that one, that one. This is your Harmony file. Don't delete your Harmony file. That's actually something the Fun Pimps put in there to make it easier for other mods to work. Never delete this file. If during the process of making your 7 Days to Die file with the mod launcher, sometimes it will delete this mod out of there or not copy the file over, in which case you'll need to go back and find the file. There's a lot of people showing videos on how to mod 7 Days. I much prefer to show how I augment other people's mods to do what I need them to do, rather than actually showing you how to download mods, because there's a lot of people who show you that. I've got the longer loot bags, the mega loot bags, because as you can tell, I'm not doing trader missions. That's another thing. I tried to immersively tell why my character wouldn't be doing those missions by doing one mission, realizing that it was useless to do those missions and not doing anymore. I hope that came across. I also use Guns, Nerds, and Steel's Warmer Weather because it is very, very hard to get good camera footage whenever it's bad weather. That's it. The Vehicle Damage Adjustment and the Zombie Reach. And those are from Hayne. And the vehicle damage is basically supposed to make it to where your vehicles do the damage that they're supposed to do. For some reason during this one, they took away the damage that let's see, the last alpha, they gave us the ability to damage zombies with the vehicles. And this one, they took it away and made it where you had to fix it more. So they like double nerfed the vehicles. So I put that back in. And the zombie reach is basically, it's supposed to be within the length of a spear rather than being able to, like from the left field, smack you in the back of the head. Locks that's part of S-Core, I'm pretty sure. The Priest Weapon mod is the only thing that I have been working on, which is a personal mod, basically changing a couple of items. And as soon as I'm done with that, I'll release it to you guys. I need to actually test a few of them to see if they work properly. The Priest Weapon mod adds 2 explosives, well, 1 new kind of Molotov, 1 explosive, and 1 new weapon. And that's all it adds right now. I'm basically going to allow this mod to develop. And what I might do is just release several different versions of it for people who want it. Right now, it basically just gives you a more advanced stun baton, which I have dubbed Divine Light. So yeah, that's basically what it does. And it doesn't just buff the stun baton, it allows you to put whatever mod you want into it. So you can technically have a stun baton with the repulsor mod that also has the burning shaft mod. That's what it does. So I'm going to see how balanced it is. I'll probably still release it. People play with unbalanced things all the time, but I'm going to check to see the balance. And the sphere stuff is all these things are kind of like, it's all the stuff basically from the S-Core and everything else like that. Then the super chip is the ability to take all of the chips, the XP chip and all of the other chips, to do different combinations with them and then make a one chip to rule them all at the end. You basically have to find each one of those chips and combine them into each other to make one super chip. If I'm knowing that correctly. And then the Walkman, which is a file that I found, I'm pretty sure this one was on Nexus? I'm pretty sure it was on Nexus. And I altered the file to include the flavor text of it picking up CB wavelengths. Normally a Walkman wouldn't do that unless you augmented it in some way. So it picks up earlier in the AM. Yes, it starts at like when the rooster crows. No, the Walkman actually picks up earlier bands of radio that normally don't get picked up by the Walkman. So it changes the flavor text. That's all it does. And random zombie names is supposed to be adding in zombies names. Actually, I'm not sure that this is really immersive. I'm thinking about taking it out. Or there's a possibility of giving the names list to the people in my Discord and allowing them to try and create name combinations that might legitimately cause me to break character to see whether or not it happens as a challenge. Yeah, that was basically everything. Mods list, lore dump, and constructive criticism as opposed to helpful, non-helpful criticism. I love the constructive criticism. I've had people tell me I need to work on my audio levels. That is exceptionally helpful. And I do need constructive criticism for this. If I'm going to learn to make better videos, I could definitely use the help with this one. It's not anybody's duty to make my videos better, but if you're going to criticize, might as well do it constructively. I'm just saying. Okay, now, switching gears from this to channel news. For those of you who are unaware, for the whole channel. I am not just here on this main channel. I also have a VODs channel, which is a video on demand, which is where my live streams are. And I also have a clips channel. And then I also have Hidden Harvest, which is a gardening channel. I am also over on Twitch. I am also on Rumble. So I've got a lot of different places. Plus I have a whole Discord and a server. And a whole house to take care of. That's a long list. Anyway. The point is I do need to simplify some things. So I've made some choices on the things and the stuff that I wish to do. First off, if you're looking for me over on Rumble, here I am. I don't know how many people actually follow Rumble, but they reached out to me and asked me. So I'm like, you know what? Sure. I mean, I've made the videos. They're there. There you go. I don't know how many people here watch Rumble. So there's that. Also, I have made the decision in the sake of trying to simplify. My clips channel needs a bit of help, and my VODs channel needs a little bit of help. And it occurred to me that I really did need a VODs channel and a clips channel because most of my clips come from my VODs, my streams. So I'm thinking about consolidating the VODs channel and the clips channel into one channel, which means pulling all of my clips, putting them on here, and then deleting the clips channel. So over the next couple of weeks or so, I'm going to slowly start pulling videos and getting them uploaded. So you'll probably see the same clips in more than one place. I'm just letting you guys know if you happen to be subscribed to the VODs channel, that is a thing. Also, the VODs channel, whenever we get done with a stream, there is a cool little feature called redirect, which basically makes it to where at the end of the stream, I can redirect or send people to go watch a video or go watch somebody else's live stream, which is a really fun thing to do because everybody in the chat's already been chit-chatting, talking, and having a good time. They could go somewhere else and chit-chat and talk together and have a good time doing yet another thing. And the only time that gets opened is when this channel hits 1,000 subscribers. So I am begging you guys, if you like VODs content, I'm not asking you if you don't actually like streams to go over here and subscribe, because it doesn't really do any good if you don't care for streams at all to subscribe to a streaming channel. But if you happen to like streams, if you happen to catch my streams on a regular basis or something like that, please make sure you subscribe over here. It doesn't cost anything, and you can hit the bell notification. That way you know when I'm going to go live, and you'll also now get my clips as well instead of having to use a third channel. I think I show up in people's feeds way too often. Next thing that I wanted to talk about was essentially kind of a step away from there, but more of a discussion on the series that I'm currently doing. I have been doing 7 Days to Die content since the end of Alpha 17, which means I've been doing it for a long, long time now. There are people who have been doing it a lot longer than me. And one thing that I have noticed is that the 7 Days to Die content wanes. The interest in it kind of goes up and it goes down and stuff like that, depending on how many updates there are and whether or not people are pushing it to do things. So my way of making sure that I don't go bonkers trying to play the game is I actually need to work on my editing style. I have gotten to where I know my Let's Play edits very well, to the point to where they almost kind of sort of bore me to edit. I don't mind playing the game and I don't mind editing, but I don't want to play the game and have to edit the footage because it's the exact same thing. But since I'm editing, doing a spectator cam, which I'm not actually paying that much attention to, I'm just placing it somewhere and hoping that the camera catches something, and I'm playing around with music in a different edit, it's kind of, even though it's a lot more work, it's a whole lot more interesting too. So that's the reason for the style change, but like I said, I may not even keep it that way. Just because I'm playing around with the style for this particular series does not mean that I'm going to stay doing it this way. It might get to where it's like way too much effort and my Let's Plays were doing just fine. That is a thing. I have no idea, but I'm going to continue to try it. Not to mention it gives me a chance to learn new things. I have wanted to learn how to put music into my videos, how to blend it in properly, when the best time to use it in, what style to use it where, and everything else like that. These are things I've been curious about for a long time, so I think it's time I start trying to do it. Also, for long-term stuff, at some point, it could be a few years from now, it could be soon, I have no idea. The channel will eventually go cameraless, just because I think it's time for me to go more roleplay and less let's play. I don't know how I feel about that, but in some cases I think it would be a good thing, and then during my streams I would have my camera. So people who actually wanted to interact with me face to face and get my reactions, it would actually be live and they could interact. Whereas my videos would actually be more roleplay. I'm considering that, but I don't think I'm ready for that because I still have to learn edits and everything else like that. So you guys let me know down in the comment section what you think about that concept. There's advocacy on both sides for survival and role-playing being cameraless because people can immerse themselves in the character rather than seeing someone's face. And don't get me wrong, it does not hurt my feelings for people to tell me that the videos would do better without a camera. Obviously, there's a lot of people who figure role-playing does not need a camera. I was doing more of a let's play, not a role play, but if I start going over into role playing more often, if I perfect the technique and everybody seems to like it, then who knows, maybe I'll do that. I'm not married to having to keep my camera on. I'll probably turn it on to where I'm like doing updates, or maybe I'll do occasional streams on the main channel, which has happened in the past before. But ladies and gentlemen, that is it for my updates. I hope that was everything. The holiday season is coming on, and of course I'm going to do my Halloween videos that I usually do. I've got to get a couple of them together and get me a couple of videos up, and we are almost finished with the Alien Isolation, so hopefully I can get that one done in time. I need to go ahead and start editing that one. And as far as the people who are watching the Hidden Harvest videos, I have a video that's just been sitting over there and I have not edited it, and it's almost a month old now. That is how far behind I am on stuff. But I am slowly whittling my way through it. So that is it. I've got a lot of catch up to do after the summertime, and I usually spend the wintertime doing a whole lot of projects that I didn't have time to during the summertime because I do all of the gardening. And hopefully next year's garden won't be quite as intensive because I won't be starting new beds. Or, yeah, I won't be starting any new beds. I might be rearranging and fixing some of the old beds, if that makes any sense. So they might be considered new beds. But the point is I won't be redoing an entire garden this upcoming year, which will be nice. So yeah, I think that's basically all I had to say about that one. The new style of video that I am doing is not necessarily what I will continue doing. I'm just going to go on based on feedback. So if you have feedback, drop it down there in the comments section. That's the only way people who make content learn what people like to watch. If nobody tells me what they like to see in the videos, I never know what to put inside the videos. I hear a whole lot of, I don't like this, I don't like that, but I don't hear what I do like. And those are the things that I actually need to hear. So do you like role-playing? Do you like survival? Do you like a mixture? Right now I'm kind of going for a mixture. We'll see how it goes. And as far as the VODs channel and the Clips channel, they're just going to be combined. The same content will be there. I will just slowly start filtering it all over to the VODs channel. So if you guys haven't subscribed to the VODs channel, please do so we can get up to 1,000 so we can actually get our what is it called? Redirecting going. Because at the end of my streams for Twitch, I can not redirect, but it calls it rating over there. I can rate other people and people can watch their stream, but over here, I just kind of have to end the stream awkwardly. So yeah, that's it. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that is it. I am done talking your ears off. I hope I covered everything. If you have any questions about any of the mods, let me know. Usually you can find me in my Discord. I'm there quite frequently, actually. If you are looking specifically for the mod that I personally am adding, I've got a couple more tweaks. I actually need to test the weapon a little bit more. There was one thing that was not working properly, so I don't want to release the version I'm currently using, but I don't have to worry about it because it's not currently in the game. I haven't made one, created one. There's nothing in that that's currently in my playthrough, so I can fiddle with it. Speaking of which, there's a good chance that I might have to roll over to a new map because one of the mods wasn't fully downloaded properly when I first started that mod up. In which case, I'm going to try and role play. We're going to roll into that and see how it goes. We'll see. I'm going to see if I can do it where it just feels like it continues on and it doesn't disrupt anything. Just one of them was supposed to do POI adjustments for the new zombies. And that particular section was not downloaded for some reason into the proper file when I started. So it may not have made those adjustments and I might have to re-roll my map. In which case I'll just bring it up to the point where we are at right now and I will actually one for one make sure all of the stuff that I own is in there. So it will be a transfer over. I'll try and make it like I'm moving to a new map kind of situation. I'm going to try and figure out a way to do it immersively. I already said I was going to end off this video, guys. I do apologize. You have a wonderful day and a wonderful night, and you stay shiny. Bye!